Bannockburn Sluicings, a miner's legacy. Today I'm taking you on a journey through history, not just with words but with a full sensory experience. I'm on my mountain bike navigating the very paths and tracks that tell the tale of Bannockburn Sluicings. With every pedal stroke, I'm not just covering ground, I'm uncovering stories, capturing glimpses of the past through my camera lens. So join me now as we delve into the history of this remarkable area. Welcome to a landscape forged by ambition and grit, a testament to the relentless pursuit of gold in New Zealand's rugged south. Just a few kilometres southwest of Cromwell lies the Bannockburn Sluicings Historic Reserve, a place that refuses to be understood from a distance. It demands your presence, your footsteps, to truly reveal its story. What first appears as a desolate, lunar-like expanse soon transforms. Your journey winds through a valley sculpted by human will, amidst towering rock tailings, dark tunnels, and excavated caves. These are not natural formations, they are the enduring scars of a desperate, often dangerous quest for wealth, left precisely as they were when the last prospector departed over a century ago. This desert made by water is the profound 150-year-old legacy of hydraulic sluicing. Imagine, if you will, the deafening roar as immense jets of water, powerful enough to reshape the early earth, were blasted at full size. Purpose: strip away overburden and expose the rich alluvial gold, the precious deposits laid down by ancient rivers. It was a technology of breathtaking scale, and it utterly transformed this corner of Otago. For half a century, beginning in the early 1860s, this land seethed with activity. This extensively man-made badlands near Cromwell became New Zealand's own Wild West, a frontier where dreams were made and shattered. As an iconic heritage site, the sheer shock of the old compels us to reflect on the audacity, the toil, and the human cost of those who carved this extraordinary place from the wilderness. The architects of fortune, Stewart and Menzies. At the heart of much of this local endeavour were two pivotal figures: David Stewart, a skilled stonemason, and John Menzies, a determined miner. They were more than just prospectors, they were entrepreneurs who understood that in this parched land water was as valuable, if not more so, than gold itself. David Stewart, a man whose craft with stone would leave lasting physical marks on the landscape, arrived in Bannockburn by the mid-1860s. John Menzies was his contemporary, sharing the same harsh, unforgiving environment. Together they forged a partnership crucial to many miners' success.
up the ridge at night, reminisce at the coalfield lights. Went through the past with strength. We all grow, but we never change. Go get the future you're after, running in circles and so set to catch up. There was a wall between every day and the dreams you keep. And when you miss your time, you count the days till you're coming back. Things change, we grow, we never let the inside show. Late nights in the cold, the family band in the neon glow. Go get the future you're after, running in circles and so set to catch up. Maybe it's lack of attention, maybe we're stuck in the sins of our own ways. Never die. How on the way you feel inside. Some days pay and some get spent. Some things you can't afford to miss. We ran with the vibe to find our way. Now we're trapped in a stranger day. I cry to myself. Go get the future you're after, running in circles and sunset to catch up. Maybe it's lack of intention, maybe we're stuck in the sins of our own way.
Right there, a bit of sort of. You see that down there, sun on it, top in the clouds, and then the white colour on the right side.
By the mid-1860s, they had embarked on the monumental task of building Menzies Dam. It was an earthen-walled structure approximately 2 hectares in size, with its inner surface meticulously faced with stone, a testament to Stuart's masonry skills to protect it from wave erosion. This dam was no small feat. It was a testament to sheer manual labour, a hand-built reservoir designed to capture and hold vast quantities of water. Stuart, shrewd and far-sighted, secured vital water rights from Longully. With Menzies, he then supervised the painstaking cutting of an extensive water race to feed their newly constructed dam. This strategic control over water meant they could sell it to other miners, effectively controlling access to areas previously deemed unworkable. This network of dams, races and water management was a complex feat of engineering for its time, demonstrating a deep understanding of the land and its resources. Stuartstown, the settlement that grew nearby, also bears Stuart's name. It was a thriving community from around 1865 into the early 20th century, sustained by the very gold Stuart and Menzies helped others to find. Then it remains today beyond the evocative ruins of a stone miner's cottage and an orchard planted in 1906, which incredibly still yields pears and apricots, offering a living link to those early settlers. Records show both Stuart and Menzies applying for residence areas in 73, indicating their commitment to establishing themselves in this boom and bust environment. However, the harsh realities of the goldfield took a toll. Stuart passed away in 1883. Menzies continued for a time, partnering with others like William Roy, who had mined with them since 1770s, but his time too came to an end. His house claims in effect sold off a common outcome to many who lived and died on the goldfields. The brutal realities, dangers and mortalities. Life on the goldfields, particularly in the unforgiving terrain around Cromwell and Bannockburn, was incredibly arduous and fraught with danger. The pursuit of gold extracted a human cost. The construction of dams like Menzies Dam and the extensive network of water races was done entirely by hand. Miners toiled with picks, shovels and wheelbarrows, moving countless tons of earth and stone. This was physically exhausting work, often under extreme weather conditions, searing Otago summers and biting winters. Accidents were frequent. Collapses in tunnels and races, falls from precarious ledges, and injuries from tools were commonplace. Without modern safety equipment or medical facilities, even minor injuries could quickly become fatal due to infection or neglect. Beyond construction, the very act of hydraulic sluicing, while effective, carried its own risks. The immense pressure of the water jet could cause unexpected earth movements, triggering landslides or rockfalls that could bury men in an instant. Working in wet-log conditions for long hours also led to chronic health issues, including rheumatism, pneumonia and respiratory illnesses from the fine dust generated by sanitation was often poor in the hastily erected mining camps, contributing to outbreaks of disease. Mortality rates on the goldfield were significantly higher than in more established settlements. Disease, accidents and the sheer brutality of the labour meant that many hopeful prospectors never saw their fortunes or even lived to return home. Stuartstown's simple stone cottage and the nearby rock shelters were testament to the basic, often harsh living conditions, far from the comforts of home, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made. Cromwell's Golden Heart, a broader history. The Cromwell district itself was a magnet for gold seekers. The confluence of the Clutha, Matau, and the Kawerau rivers, particularly around the junction where Cromwell now stands, offered some of the richest alluvial gold deposits in Otago. Initially, prospectors focused on easily accessible riverbeds and terraces, panning and craning for gold. That is set for surface deposits to diminish. More intensive methods like hydraulic sluicing became necessary. This required significant capital investment for water rights, for the construction of dams and races, and for the powerful nozzles or giants or monitors that directed the water. This shift from individual fossicking to more industrialised mining also led to the formation of mining companies, even small syndicates like that of Stuart Menzies, pooling resources for larger operations. This landscape around Cromwell was profoundly altered, not only by the mental excavations of sluicing, but also by the network of dams, like Menzies Dam poured high above the workings. These reservoirs captured water from distant gullies, channeling it through intricate race systems that often extracted for many kilometres, defying gravity and challenging the rugged topography. The Bannockburn Sluicings, with its dramatic badlands, is perhaps the most vivid example of this large-scale transformation, a testament to the insatiable drive for gold that reshaped both land and lives. Enduring legacy. Today, the Bannockburn Sluicings, with its surviving historical remnant, stands as an extraordinary outdoor museum. The warm and dry climate that once tested the endurance of miners now ironically nurtures a new gold, the region's burgeoning vine industry. Vineyard rows now stretch across some of the old mining lands, representing a different kind of prospecting, a new pursuit of possibility. Visiting the site allows us to connect directly with the pivotal tip in New Zealand's history. It's a place where the ethos of pickaxes, the rush of water, and the dreams of countless individuals still resonate. Take a moment to walk the Bannockburn Loop track. It's an easy 1.5 kilometre journey. It takes about an hour and a half. Dogs work on the leash. You can access from Felton Road, just a short drive from Cromwell. Remember, this is an arid environment with no water on the tracks. Bring your own hydration, and crucially, all rocks, historic artefacts, native plants and animals are protected. Trade carefully, capture only photographs, and help us preserve this powerful, tragic yet beautiful testament to human endeavour for future generations. Hope you enjoyed the experience. Please like and subscribe, as I've got some scenic and exciting trips to share.